Hey folks, just a word of an issue that I find kind of interesting. Not that we haven't talked about this before, but perhaps it's coming from a different perspective. Being new to the area, I've been exploring various locations and venues for music. I like all kinds of music. I like folky music, jazzy music, electronic music, guitar music, classical music, you name it. There's a lot of things I like. And I've noticed that the town that I live in is quite popular for sort of singer-songwriter acoustic music, whereas the next biggest town over is more sort of a traditional rock pop type of acts. And I've noticed a lot of people, I've had a lot of conversations with people talking about just how difficult it is now in this day and age to sort of get things going as far as a band or a solo act, finding gigs, setting up some sort of venue to get your music out there. Even though the digital age has made everything easier, the market seems to have shrunk for people needing new and new music by unknown artists. There's not a whole lot out there anymore in terms of radio. There are a few renegade radio stations, college stations, things like that. And perhaps it is a little bit more developed here in the UK because radio culture is, I think, a bit stronger over here than it is in the US. I grew up on the radio, listening to the radio. I didn't have a television until I was 13. So I grew up listening to Radio 1, 2, 3 and 4. And there's still fairly robust programming on all of those venues, but it's still hard for someone to get notoriety or radio play. So you really rely on streaming podcasts, getting on people's playlists and stuff like that. And a lot of places, unfortunately, have become sort of pay to play, or play for the love of playing. There's not a lot of paying gigs, particularly in smaller towns. And it's really, really hard to get a following, even in the age of social media, the internet and everything. It's really hard to build up a sort of fandom of any types. And I've talked to a lot of younger people just sort of branching out that are really, really struggling. You used to be able to sell CDs at the back of the gig at a table, and there are a few people still doing that sort of thing. But as physical media dwindles and we're all moving to streaming media, we really rely on, the big guns like Spotify or Apple Music. And it's really hard to get your music circulated. You can get it on there quite easily, but getting people to actually click on it or put it into playlists is quite difficult. I recently have figured out how to put my music on Spotify. I was a holdout for many years. I don't really like Spotify. I don't like the fact that their royalties are slim to none. Very few people get any money from Spotify at all. Even some of the larger corporate artists have complained how little they receive, and they're getting millions more airplays than anyone else. And there are still some holdout musicians and bands even that have refused to put their stuff on there. You can get stuff on there. I found through RootNote there is a free service to where you can get your music onto Spotify, but then getting people to actually click on it, you can get your music on there and literally no one clicks on it. It's the same thing in every art form I find in the digital world. It's easier to produce stuff, books, CDs, artwork, physical artwork, but the markets are so saturated that it literally can go and not be on anyone's radio, just sort of go into a morass of thousands of things that get released every day and just goes unnoticed. And that's where the difficulty lies. It's getting at people to actually take a chance and you know, give your music a listen, or maybe buy a track or download a track, or whatever service you're on, or even just stream a track. And I see a lot of YouTubers of much higher standing than myself complaining about the, you know, what the current music business is giving them back for all their toils. And I'm talking about some very big channels. I don't need to name them, but you see the videos. I made this much money on YouTube. I made this much money on Spotify. So it's a real struggle. And I'm hoping in the next few years there'll be a breakthrough that allows people to circulate their stuff. You see a few things coming on the market. For instance, there's a current site where current musicians can sort of hook up and get gigs, but that doesn't necessarily get you a listenership. There are some great new sites, like, not so new anymore, but things like Bandcamp, that are very helpful. But again, they're very sort of musician centric. They're not, almost no one in my world of friends that's not a musician goes to Bandcamp at all. It's mostly musicians that know about it and check out each other's stuff. And of course, that's a very, very small footprint, isn't it, that you're going to have. So, but I'm hoping that there will be distribution advances and ways that people can sort of book gigs, you know, get onto certain circuits, tap into certain markets. That's improved. We've advanced so much in the last few years that certain parts of the music streaming world lag behind. There are some parts that are very, very developed, like actually making the music and getting it, you know, out there onto the internet is so easy now. It's really easy. But getting your music into the ears of willing listeners, or even to where people are aware of it, is tough. And of course, that's not helped by the fact that music has become sort of a free commodity, and that people no longer collect music or have music collections. They sort of just put on playlists that suit their mood. And so, you know, they'll never be on a site or in a location where they're going to sort of see you come up and think, oh, that looks interesting, I'll try that. So lots of empathy. I went through the same process maybe 10 to 15 years ago, beat my head against the wall many times. It was very difficult then, and I don't see that much improvement, some, but very little improvement. And I just encourage people who are doing music to keep working at it, make it better, do it for the love of it. Make sure you're in love with it first, because that really, really helps if you're doing it because you absolutely love doing it, rather than you have an eye to becoming popular or rich, you know, wealthy. So anyway, I just thought I'd put that out there. I like getting people's feedback on this because I often learn about things I don't know about in this whole wide world of music circulation. So please do comment, and I will read through them and perhaps extend this conversation in future videos. All right, folks, take care.